MrBeast has responded to the allegations against him in a long-form, multi-hour video with Oompaville, basically a podcast type setting where he asks questions, kind of like an interview and a podcast mixed together. But he did answer a lot of questions that people have had, and honestly, if he would have just done this in the beginning, I think that a ton of this stuff wouldn't have blown up to what it is today, and to a point where no matter what he even says, there's still people that are going to say, he's simply manipulating people. He's doing this, he's lying, he's doing whatever. So it really depends. If you like MrBeast, you're going to think this is an amazing thing and everything's great. If you don't, then you're just going to point to it and say he's manipulating, he's doing this, he's doing that. So it's like there's no real winning from this at this point. He should have done this earlier, but there's some clips here that we'll watch as some of the topics. One of them being why he didn't actually talk early on or wait so long and being silent.
My interviewer, ex-employees. So it's a little unfortunate because I had told them, okay, I'll wait till the investigation is over. And I believe that was literally like a week before the dog pack video came out. And then truthfully, just in transparency, I've never done one of these like big investigations before. And in my head, it was going to last like 2 or 3 weeks. It ended up taking a couple months, apparently combing through all the documents and doing all the interviews and everything. Just took way longer than I thought because I've never had to bring in a top tier law firm and a former federal prosecutor and let him, do this really big thing.
So basically off the bat saying he was silent because he was told to be. He did the investigation, as we all know. Also in here that we probably won't show the clip of, but the investigation that everyone says MrBeast investigated himself and found himself innocent. That's kind of what it seems like, or seemed like. Obviously, he got an outside third party. He didn't do it himself, and then they had some things that they found that were wrong, that they didn't like and stuff that he changed. So, but basically this investigation, the Chris Ava Tyson stuff, that was the big problem where it was what he wanted to deal with first. So he did the investigation, and because of that, he just decided not to say anything because they told him not to. Realistically, he probably should have just said something, addressed the allegations and stuff right away. I don't think that would have been a big problem, but that's why he stayed silent, and he does say that he regrets that. And if he could go back, probably push back harder in actually responding. And also, obviously, we know Dog Pack started off as very accepted, like the hero of this story stuff, and has recently turned because he's had some things that were wrong. He's had someone else come out with a video proving a lot of his stuff is wrong, and some of the things that he went on to try and expose later ended up being wrong. So he's been wrong quite a bit, and because of that, MrBeast is actually saying that he's more than likely going to sue him.
Are you going to sue Dog Pack?
Well, there's tons of examples of him intentionally manipulating things to not be true and posting it online. Tons and tons and tons of that. Soggy has basically an hour and 27-minute video, and an hour of it is just flat out proving manipulation and lies, and caused a lot of harm to my businesses. I mean, I've literally had people pull out millions of dollars and then tell me it was directly because of his video. And don't worry, I instantly was like, can you send that in writing? So, if I win a case or anything, I can directly point damages. No reason why. And so, I mean, it's just unfortunate. Like, I don't want to be put in this situation, but probably going to have to. I mean, it's just, I mean, what do you do if someone's just spreading misinformation about you and, just causing harm to your business and like getting it to the point where you might have to potentially fire people because it's costing you so much revenue? It's like, it's not fair to the people in my companies. You know what I mean? It's just sad, it's not a thing I take joy in, but
right.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, okay. So yes.
They're not done drafting it up, but once they're done, more than likely, yeah.
Okay. Interesting. Yeah, that's...
I mean, every law firm I've talked to, they're like, this would be the easiest win they've ever seen in their life. I mean, it's like crazy. I had one tell me, like, you could chop up all the evidence into like 3, sue 3 separate times, and win all 3 cases because you'd have enough for each. Like, one person I was talking to, he's won like 67 out of his last 70 cases, and he's like, this would be literally the easiest case I've ever done. Like it's because there's just so much blatant, misinformation and lies spread. Like, I mean, it's crazy. I mean, just go watch Sagi's video. Go look at his Twitter where he's redacted multiple ones of it. I mean,
Yeah.
I don't know.
So I played the full 2 minutes of that, a full 2 minute clip of that, because this is the subject, one of the bigger things that I just am tossed up on. I don't know how exactly I think about this, because I don't think that any YouTuber should be suing another YouTuber because of videos that they made. Because I think the best response would be if someone makes a video on you saying something, to make a video back and respond to whatever they say and talk about why they're wrong. And I think that's what should have been done. So I don't like the lawsuit stuff. I just don't like seeing it on YouTube. This one, it's maybe a little different. You could say that he's proven, or a lot of the stuff that he said was proven false, which I don't even know. I haven't kept up that much with it since then. But if he's proven false, but then you'd have to prove that he knew it was false as well to have a claim to that stuff, I would think. I think that's like how defamation works. So can you prove that? I don't know. Maybe you could say he's looking for attention on the internet, clout on the internet. But either way, I don't like seeing this happen. So I could see why he wants to do it, because it's like it was all wrong. It was disinformation, and it was it's hurting my business. But I don't like the lawsuit landscape in YouTube. I don't want it to become a thing, because all that's going to happen is going to be smaller channels will not be able to talk about bigger channels, because the bigger channels will just bully them because they have more money. So they will be able to shut up anyone they want. So even if this one is the right case, say everything is lined up right for this, that it makes sense for this lawsuit, I think it opens the door to a dangerous place where bigger YouTubers will use this as precedent to say, MrBeast did it, so why can't I? This guy's spreading lies about me, and suing other people and trying to say it's justified because the biggest YouTuber in the world has done it successfully. I just don't want to go down that path. That seems like a dangerous, just slippery slope of just a terrible time for everyone. I don't want to see that. It sounds like he's going to go through with the lawsuit. On top of that, saying like he lost the millions of dollars in sponsorships and stuff like that, and costing people jobs. But I think from like an outside like audience or fan person looking in and seeing MrBeast, #1 subscribed YouTuber, like billionaire that people talk about, making hundreds of millions of dollars, like I don't think people are gonna look at that and say this one YouTube video made you have to fire people, like, because other companies, they're just gonna look at other companies like Apple or big tech companies, which obviously are massive compared to MrBeast, not the same ballpark at all. But they're gonna look at that and say, if someone makes a video about an iPhone and says this is the worst phone in the world, Apple's not gonna point to their video and say, we lost iPhone sales because of them, let's sue them. Like, it's just not gonna happen. So I don't know. I don't know how to feel about the suing thing, because I don't like it in general. I hope that he just doesn't go through with it and just pulls out, because even if he's exactly in the right and it's a right lawsuit and it makes sense and he would win because everything's on his side, it just opens the door to problems that I don't think anyone wants to deal with. But the next thing we have is the illegal lotteries, which he kind of addresses kind of a little bit, but some of it doesn't make too much sense. But the illegal lotteries that he might have allegedly ran, took some things down. It's kind of weird.
Was there any compliance, any steps taken to prevent this? What is your just perspective on that?
Yes. So I don't think we did. I have people looking into it and like trying to pull the footage and figure it out. He disproved the two, which I mean, those were crazy. I don't want to just like speculate. I have a team looking into it. I don't think we did though. But regardless, just to be truthful, if people want a refund or think for whatever reason, like we did something wrong, like I'll send you a link that you can just put in the description where they can get a refund. Maybe just throw it on the screen here.
Okay.
But yeah, I mean, at the moment, that's all I really have to say. Maybe I could do a follow-up in the future. I'm trying to, dig up all the footage from that live stream. This was like many years ago. Like this isn't like something I
course.
did 3 months ago.
Yeah.
On this part, obviously, I think that's a good thing to do is just offer refunds regardless of whatever. If you feel like you got gypped, to give yourself a refund, probably the right thing to do, right? A good start. But also where he says that the live streams he doesn't have, that they're so old and stuff, but you would have them if you didn't delete them, right? Because wasn't that a big thing that happened that he deleted the live streams, which is what sparked a lot of this stuff. People saying he knows he's in the wrong. These are illegal live streams. He's taking them down because he knows they're wrong. So even if that's not why he took them down, or maybe he doesn't even know they took them down. He says his team's so big that the team took him down. Either way, it's just not a good look, and that's something that maybe you should have pushed back on a bit and saying like, what about taking down these live streams and deleting them? Why'd you do that? But didn't really get that. But ultimately, I don't think it's just like a big deal because illegal lotteries and it's like scummy sales behavior and stuff. But I don't know what is going to be the result from this. Like, what do people want to happen if it comes out and he says he was doing illegal lotteries? I think best case is just to refund people who bought stuff during that. I think that's the only thing that could happen. Or maybe you want to see MrBeast go to jail. I don't know. That seemed kind of crazy. But even if the illegal lotteries, like, I don't see anything really coming from that. And we also have him talking about insider trading with his crypto wallet. Coffeezilla had a video on this where he kind of goes in depth, throws out some of the stuff from an earlier report, talks about kind of the weird things that MrBeast says, like, I made these trades or I bought these crypto punks and those are in the wallet that he says he doesn't control, but why would he say that he bought them? So it's a weird situation here, but that's basically what he says is just a fund manages the wallet.
Coffee's video and the report. Well, so I'll start off with the report. I mean, most people probably haven't even read it, but that's what kind of spawned that whole thing was this. Did you see it? Like that? Yeah. So the gist of this crypto report that was, one sec. Gist of this report was, Jimmy is too stupid to like make this kind of money. Therefore, it must be insider trading. This is his wallet. Clearly there was insider trading because he never would have been able to make this kind of money. When in reality, which is what I told Coffee in that statement we gave him, it was managed by a fund. So I wasn't the one managing the wallet. I've never had access to that wallet. I've never done the buying and selling on that wallet. There's a actual professional who's written books on crypto and lived and breathes crypto every second of the day managing it. So most of the allegations there are just answered by like, I am too stupid to do that. That's why a fund was managing it. You know what I mean? And yeah, I mean, like Coffee said, like if he literally said this in a video. If you like Jimmy, then you're like, yeah, he has answers for everything and just checks out. And if you don't like Jimmy, then you're going to go, there's obviously wrongdoing here. But yeah, I mean, the honest truth is like, I make videos, I'm running 7 businesses. I got a lot going on. And yeah, I invested in a crypto fund. They invested on my behalf and I've never had access to that wallet. They're the one doing the buying and selling. I mean, there are thousands of transactions on there. Like, I don't even have that kind of time. I'm sure you could probably even look at it and see like days where I was like maybe in solitary confinement or like doing a video where I didn't even have access to a computer and there's trading.
True.
So for the conspiracy theorists that think I'm lying and using the fund as a cover up, like, I mean, there's gotta be some way where you could just figure that out. Like, or I was on a plane ride or something. But yeah, that's like the honest transparency is.
So for this one, I think he's harping on the fund trades in this, the fund does this, the fund manages it, and trying to not say that he does stuff. And I think that's true. Like, a fund probably manages a lot of the stuff in that crypto wallet, but I'm sure that he probably has access to it as well, that he could make a decision. He could buy or sell something if he wanted to. Like, he never says that I don't have access to this wallet. I don't do anything with it. So the door is open there because he says the fund manages it, which is a truth. I'm sure that they do, but he might also have access to the wallet to make his own buy and sells if he wanted to. So if he have that access, he didn't answer that question right. But it's just weird because he has the clip on Impulsive where he says like, Gary Vee got us all in a call. He said CryptoPunks are going to be spectacular, and I went and bought CryptoPunks. But why would you say that you went and did it? Why would you say I told the crypto fund that I'm with, well, you got to buy some CryptoPunks and made sure they got in on it? He says I did that. So, is that a slip up. Is he in control of the wallet? Probably not fully. I'm sure that he does not have the time to fully do all these degen crypto trades. But if he wanted to get something done, I'm sure he could go and do it, or go and tell them to do it. So, kind of an open door there. But it's a weird thing. Like they said, and Coffeezilla said, you can take it both ways. If you like MrBeast, it's easy to write off stuff and say, yeah, the fund's doing a bunch of the stuff. Or if you don't like him, you can say, yeah, it's his wallet. So after all, at the end of the day, it's his wallet and his crypto company firm that he's with. So you could take it both ways. And one of the last things here is the Feastables stuff, saying that it's slave free or child slave free and stuff. That they took that off their website. It used to have a section there. Now they took it off. And he addresses, what's going on there and the process that they go through.
So, company that is the gold standard that has been living and breathing this for the last 15 years is Tony's Open Chain, or Tony's Chocolonely. Have you heard of them?
Yes.
Yeah, I mean, phenomenal. They are nuts about this stuff. Like they've done all the research. They live and breathe it, like on how to eliminate child labor, how to best support the farmers, how to everything you can think of, which I'm about to go in depth on. And so I was like, hey, I need to talk to these guys. These guys know what they're doing. And so I spent a lot of time with them, and we actually formed a joint partnership with where we sourced through Tony's Open Chain with Feastables and Tony's Open Chain when we were moving over there. And this has been a thing well before the controversy. Before anyone says, "Oh, it's only because of controversy," it was a thing before the controversy. And basically, 100% of Feastables cocoa is fair trade certified, which is expensive. It's basically the most expensive certification you can have on it, which for most chocolate companies would be enough. You'd get your cocoa fair trade certified, and then do you even know what fair trade certified means? Mm-hmm. Okay. Do you think your viewers know? No. So if someone was like, "You're unethical," and I just said, "My beans are fair trade certified, my chocolate," 99% of people would be like, "Okay, good enough. That makes sense." So I could have just hid behind that, but I didn't think fair trade, I don't think that's enough. And so not only are 100% of Feastables beans fair trade certified, but 100% of them, we also pay a living income reference price. Have I mentioned any of this to you before?
No.
Okay, so 100 living income reference price, this is why it's hilarious how people are claiming we unethically source our cocoa. And I'm ready to lay this out, because everyone who said I use slave labor and I don't care, I hope you delete your videos, because you were literally spreading severe disinformation. So for us, one of the main drivers of child labor in cocoa is poverty. They don't make enough money. So you can't just go to a farmer and say, "Don't use child labor," because if they can't afford to pay a grown-up, then you're telling them, "Hey, go starve." They have to make money. So one of the ways you can eliminate child labor is you have to pay a living income. So there's a thing called living income reference price, where they look at, and tell me if I need to dumb it down or whatever, I don't know. But they look at inflation, the cost of bread, basically the cost of living in these areas in West Africa. And they say, hey, if a farmer sells you a metric ton of cocoa, they need to get paid blank to actually be able to live. If you're paying under that, it's just not reasonable for them to live, which then will mean for them to live, they're gonna have to use child labor. So 100% of our beans, we pay a living income reference price. So if a farmer theoretically sold us a metric ton of cocoa for, I'll make up a number, $800, and the living income reference price is $1,000, we'll go, hey, we actually want to pay you $1,000 for that, a $200 premium on top of it, to make sure you make enough money to live off of. And that's what we do for all our beans, which is crazy. You know what I mean? But if we're doing this, we don't want child labor on the farms. And so there's child labor mediation system, and there's a lot of stuff. And this is where Tony's has been great to work with. We have people who check in on the farms and, interview the families, interview the kids. If there are cases, remediate it, follow up, make sure the case was remediated. And it's about part of solving child labor is making sure the farmers make more money. So we also have coaches that will work with farms to, on their theoretical hectare, see if there's any way they can educate them so they can get 10% more yield. So for the same farm, they can make 10% more money. Therefore, they're not as in poverty. So
I would believe MrBeast that he does this with Feastables. I don't see why he wouldn't. Right, his reputation would go to complete nothing if he's lying about this. So I believe that he goes out and pays the living wage or living reference price for stuff. Goes out of his way to do all these things because that's how he has to label his bar. I think there's a bigger problem that wasn't really touched on is the changing of ingredients or amount of sugar and stuff in the Feastables bars from the old recipe to the new one. No one really talked about that. I think that was one of the bigger problems, but people just kind of ignore it. But for this part, the only problem that I would see is why would you take the label off your website and just leave it blank instead of work on that update. He talks about it, not in this clip, but about that maybe it's a demo site that they have a bigger in-depth view of what they do and what they go through. But I would probably just leave that label up there so that people can't go there and say, "Oh, you took it off. Look, you're doing slave labor now," and just leave it there until the real website's ready to go, and then switch it over. Then at least then people would know, oh, they switched over from just this label to breaking down what they do and how it works. So I think would be a better approach. I fully believe that MrBeast is doing that with Feastables. I hope so. I hope he's not lying about it. But I think that he's probably doing it. I don't see any reason for him to lie. And Feastables is a giant company too, as well. I think he says that in here, where the most of the money that they make to run their company and stuff comes from Feastables, where the production company, MrBeast's channels and stuff, loses drastic amounts of money. Feastables makes up a lot of that, but they still lose money overall every year. So he can't risk tanking Feastables. It's one of the things that bails out his production company. But yeah, it was a really good interview from Oompaville. Long one, over 2 hours long. If you want to go more in depth and just see, there's more topics than these, but these ones were kind of the bigger ones that stuck out. There's a couple things in there too that are big topics, but I don't want to make a 2-hour video of my own. If you want more in-depth stuff, definitely watch his video. I'll link it in the description, be the first link there. It's a good interview to kind of listen to, see both sides, and I just wish that this was done earlier. He should have responded right away, not let these things fester and become bigger. There's always a group of people that are going to hate MrBeast, but he allowed it to fester to a much broader audience by not responding. We all know why he did. He had the law firm, whatever, investigating him. But I think he should have just said, we are responding to this stuff, and you can still investigate and do whatever. But hindsight's 2020. That's gonna do it for this video. As always, smash the button and subscribe, and I'll see you in my next video.